Hut Bull, I love your name. Hut Bull 6969. That's an online name if I've ever seen one. Yeah, dude. Learning how to bracket is like a pretty core part of ITG. I would say like learning how to like do the core three like bracket crossover foot switch. Those are the really good ones to learn because everything else is kind of based off those three. So I have a YouTube short of this, but basically the number one quickest way to go from seeing jumps and brackets as separate things, which is usually pretty hard for developing players, is just to keep like paying attention to the note just before, right? So just before the jump note, right? There's going to be one of these arrows, and then the jump or bracket, right? So one rule you can follow is like, if it shares the same arrow, it's going to be a jump. And if it's a different arrow completely, for example, different would be left into a downright jump. That would be different. That's probably a bracket. And if it's the same, it would be like left up, right? That's going to be like a step and a jump. So different arrows, bracket, same arrow, probably a jump. So that's like a good first thing to remember. And then there's like I don't know if you've seen these packs, but there's like these compilation packs. They have a lot of specific tech. There's like this one, Tech Spectrum. So then you could just go to like the bracket section here. And you can see there's like easy to hard stuff. You said you're at level 10, so you could try these. Yeah, it's called Tech Spectrum Super. Like this one's a good one for trying to see brackets. Different. You see that? It's up and left there, and then down. So they never share an arrow. A little shortcut for you. And then in terms of like foot placement, depends on your pad. For foot placement, I recommend trying to split each panel in two. And what you're trying to do is hit the two adjacent zones on the adjacent pads you're bracketing, if that makes sense. So I'm aiming for the top of the left arrow and the left of the up arrow. You can also try to get the middle of your foot on the bracket itself, It's a good way to memorize placing. No substitute for practice, though. You just gotta try to expose yourself. Just like if you're like a skiing instructor, right? Like, bro, I could ski down the fucking diamond backwards. Like, I'm just talking to you and quitting the song. So it's like, it feels pretty good to be able to do that. Yeah. That was fun. Hi, YouTube. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I taught you how to bracket in a chart that I also quitted. Which, oh, feels pretty good. But yeah, you can definitely go through this pack and just learn a lot by like playing the content. Hey, Frondal. Yeah, Kronos. That mod was created by I am Chris for Life. I don't know if he's ever gonna release it, but it's pretty interesting. He made like sound voltexy kind of like heads up. There's tech indicators. It's way too noisy for me. Like I would never use that, but it's definitely interesting. I feel like he maybe posted an ITC last season. Appreciate it, Stevie. Yeah, like, and honestly, your pad matters too. Like, you know, if you're trying to play on like old DDR pads and the wear is so high that they're like bowls, it's like playing like on bowls, like 4 bowls, concave. Like, you're just not going to be able to trigger brackets. Like, you just won't. So there is definitely like a hardware component, but ultimately try the 2 things I said. If nothing else, you just try the 2 things I said, which is shares an arrow jump, doesn't share an arrow bracket. Like you saw in this song, it's non-stop, just like you're just moving on the pad on opposite, you know, sides of the pad basically with your 1 foot, 2 foot. That's the main gimmick. So there's that. And then the second one is if you try to bisect every panel, when you do a bracket, you're trying to hit like the 2 sides that are like, you know, that are closest to each other. So if we're doing an up and right, if it's up and right, that would be like here and here. So I'm aiming to get my foot, you know, in those 2 spots. Basically, always inner sensor, and then bisect so that your feet can kind of like track, okay, you know, these two spots. It's very good. Oh, cool. Yeah, there you go. Nice.